Hello everybody, Stream Your Mind here, and today I'm attempting something that absolutely no doctor would ever recommend: beating Bloodborne using only items found in the Chalice dungeons. The rules? Surprisingly simple. I can only use blood vials, blood gems, weapons, and blood echoes that I find inside the Chalice dungeons. Fists are allowed at the very beginning because without them the run would devolve into me politely asking enemies to fall over and die. Key items like the Blood Gem Workshop tool, the first Ritual Bloods, and the first Chalices are fair game, otherwise we'd never leave Yarnham's front porch and we would be stuck slapping werewolves until retirement. And because I apparently hate myself, I added some extra rules sprinkled out through the run. Right now, I can't use any blood vials until I find a weapon. That's right, no healing, just vibes, pain, and excellent cardio. So, are you ready to watch me try to survive this mess? And will I become bustedly overpowered using only Chalice loot? Let's find out. If you enjoy this type of content though guys, please let me know by liking the video or subscribing if you so choose to. Now we can create our character, Chester, a young man with a military background, even though he looks more like the creep that hangs out at your local public library to watch corn on the computers. After getting our prostate exam all done, we stop for a moment and we take our clothes off. Not only to show off my beautiful abs, but because from this point on, we can only use the loot we find inside the Chalice dungeons. After inappropriately touching a stray dog, we reach the lamp. Since we have nothing to pick up or do here in central Yarnham, we can immediately face off Papa Gazpacho. We can't rely on the music box to make him transform early and send him flying off the map, so we'll have to fist him to death. How hard can that be? Okay. There is another way to do this. If you jump towards this pillar and quit out just in time, you will respawn on top of it. Easy enough, right?
2 hours later.
Mind you, this is the most mind-numbing, annoyingly precise, infuriating part of this cheese.
3 hours later.
Ah, finally. So, once you're here, standing on top of the pillar, you can make a save file so that if you fuck up from this point on, at least you won't have to do this jump again. Now, roll backwards and you'll be able to roll past the second pillar, roll a little bit to the right to avoid falling off. Once here, slowly start running against a piece of polygon and jump on the other side. Aim for the fence. Once standing here, roll diagonally towards the statue and your character will start moving on its own, so just let it. Now, carefully walk on the fence, clip through the wall and turn around the corner. Continue walking and congratulations, you now have a free kill against the second boss of the game, and also the best father and husband in the world. Now that Papa G was out of the picture, we can get the Blood Gem Workshop tool, which is a key item so we can pick it up. The same thing goes for the 2 Ritual Bloods found on the way to BSB. Again, we don't really have much to pick up, so I directly went off to Old Yarnham, where the blood-starved babe was waiting for us. And I would have really loved to fight her, I swear guys, but unfortunately, I don't know how that happened, she clipped through the wall and fell off to her demise. Totally accidentally, I had nothing to do with this. But now, we had access to the Chalice dungeons, meaning that the run can officially begin. To get a weapon, we needed the Tumera Root Chalice, so I cleared the first story Chalice dungeon, worked my way through the halls, opened the gate, and finally stepped into the boss arena. And that's when reality hit me. I was doing 2 damage per swing. It felt like trying to defeat a brick wall using gentle encouragement. So I backed out and paid a visit to the infamous Cum dungeon. No, it's not porn YouTube. Farming echoes until my strength, vigor, and skill finally looked halfway decent. Leveled up and feeling confident, I went back to the boss.
Dio porco.
And that's when I discovered the real issue. I had 0 blood vials because of my stupid rule, which meant the fight instantly became a forced no-hit run. I think I should reconsider my life choices. I tried again and again, but every attempt ended the same way. Everything going fine until he whipped out that cursed spin to win attack and erased me on the spot. I was getting desperate, but there is no way I was letting this discount troll hinder my progress. So I locked in, broke his legs, staggered him, hit the visceral. Victory was right there, sitting on my lap, and I died.
Cazzo.
Fuck me, man. I took a short emotional vacation by shoving my fists directly into Amelia's skull just to blow off some steam, you know. Once my therapeutic violence session was complete, I returned to my main objective. Commit high quality manslaughter on the giant man over here. And down he goes. With that nightmare handled, I made my way to the second floor. The boss here, 3 guardians, and honestly, these guys were adorable. Low health, perfectly backstab shaped bodies, and each one dies instantly to a visceral. It felt less like a boss fight and more like a gangbang where I was doing the fucking. Finally, a boss that didn't make me question my life choices. But the best part, beating them opens the way to the Root 2 Marrow Chalice, which means I can finally get a weapon. And maybe, just maybe, recover the tiny remaining shards of my will to live. Subscribe to save an old man's life. So I punched in the 8I29 RQZ3 glyph, just typing it felt like entering a nuclear launch code, and headed into the second layer. I didn't record it, so I genuinely have no idea who the boss was in the first floor. Could have been a werewolf, but none of that matters, because eventually I found it. A chest guarded by a full-grown Harry Potter ogre. I opened the chest, and there it was. Shining, glorious, the uncanny saw cleaver. At long last, after all the pain, blood, trauma, and therapy session disguised as boss fights, I finally had it in my hands. And with the weapon secured, I headed straight to Hemwick, where I immediately remembered that I accidentally picked up a few bullets earlier, so run invalid, take the fucking shit off, don't ever make a YouTube video anymore. Actually, it's fine. It doesn't matter. I'm not getting a pistol in this run anyways. I killed easily the 2 witches, even with my insight being high as Snoop Dogg. I just ignored the shadows and used my visceral to absolutely obliterate the witches. Now we're off to the Forbidden Woods, where I marched in, climbed a random ladder, and because I'm now a famous YouTuber, I found a fancy invitation. Not just any invitation, a party invitation, inside a cursed castle, in what might as well be the middle of Siberia. A place so hostile that even the cleaning staff tries to murder you while you're out for a nice midnight stroll. Honestly, I've had more welcoming experiences at the tax office. But hey, a party is a party. It's not like I can't go, right? Alright, I'm leaving. Now that we had our trusty weapon, all we need to do is upgrade it. We can also finally pick up blood vials now, so no more torturing myself with the no heals rule. However, since it's full of baths in the cliffs where we can easily acquire blood vials, I decided to add another extra rule where I can't buy any healing items until I fully upgrade my saw cleaver. Just to keep things spicy, you know. I ventured through the story chalice to get some upgrade materials for my weapon, easily obtainable by farming the jailers. Once collected all I needed, I inserted this glyph, where there is a messenger bath from which we can buy some root chalices. The one we are interested in is the sinister Root 2 Marrow Heal Chalice. Jesus, can you make the names more complicated? I bought them all though for good measure. I also ventured in the Cum Dungeon because surprisingly you can find a lot of ritual blood fives here, which will come handy later. Before getting into the tougher chalices though, we needed to get our damage up first. So I searched this glyph you see displayed on the screen, and apart from containing very hot girls, it also contains fat dudes that drop cursed physical radial gems. He drops them pretty frequently. Once I found some decent gems to mount on my glorified meat grinder, I killed the final boss of the first chalice story for the Central to Marrow Chalice. I spent too much time trying to land a backstab on this dog. Can you just Stop turning around so quickly, just let me hit your back, asshole. There you go. I absolutely mopped the floor with this edgelord, and here I got the root central tomb arrow chalice. I was exploring every nook and cranny, both to find more blood shards, but also for ritual materials for good measure in case I needed to create a particular dungeon. I got a lucky backstab on the descendant, which then proceeded to take his revenge and killed me in cold blood. And if you're wondering why I still have no vials, that's because I really despise farming. But what do I hate more than farming? Is farming in Bloodborne. Seriously, fuck the lamps. Give me that sweet, sweet warmth from the bonfire. I knew I was going to need lots of Tomb Mold 5 in order to create the chalice we needed, and in this reverse step chalice you can find triangular gems, though useless for a physical build, as I am not a nerd and I don't fuck with that pussy ass arcane bullshit. I was going to need to reach the 3rd level and spend way too much time fighting this brain sucker. I'd say I was a bit underleveled, and if I didn't realize it by now, the watchers on the 2nd floor made that pretty clear. So it was time to actually become stronger. I inserted another nuclear launch code, and in this glyph there is a jailer in the bonus room before the 2nd lamp that is easily accessible and drops twin shards pretty frequently. He also can drop some ritual materials or bolt papers. Anyways, after sticking my hand inside of random people way too many times, I had enough twin shards for +6. And finally, I could show the watchers in the reverse step chalice why they call me the penetrator. But unexpectedly had to cheese this motherfucker using the pillar because the dude was shooting up more than your average American on the 4th of July. Since I still had no vials because I still refused to farm them, he would just deal chip damage that would ultimately kill me. And I had it up to here with these burger eating, salad allergic morons. So cheese it is. Finally, I slashed the fucker and obtained a decent triangular for my efforts. I gained access to the 3rd floor where I found a Tomb Mold 5 as well as some much needed red jelly. I continued exploring and there is so much loot. Hopefully I will find some vials here. I didn't. Okay, I am tired of this bullshit. So when I had enough ritual materials, I created the Tomb Arrow E-Heal and I searched for this glyph and started mowing down every layer boss over and over for blood chunks. They can drop either 1 or 2 blood chunks. They don't always drop them, but the farming is not too bad. And kill after kill, I obtained all of the 16 required blood chunks, and I also got a blood rock from the 3rd layer boss. And finally, my build was now complete. I +10 the saw cleaver, and I could finally continue the main game. Holy shit, I feel bad now. Rum was, well, not much different from the shadows. I couldn't get the 1 cycle because I choked and messed up the sequence, but I'm pretty sure I could have easily gotten it. Though just another couple of swings were enough to bake the giant potato. Now that's what I call a big moon. I mean, I was obviously talking about this one, of course. I arrived in Yahar'gul, and since we can skip the area completely, I'll use this opportunity to show my exceptional speedrunning skills. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Oh, there you go, first try. With our damage output, well, slightly overpowered, getting rid of the courtesans was a simple task. The actual boss, however, was even easier. Okay, I need an actual challenge. So I bought some vials from a bath messenger in the dungeons, and just in case any of you would like to recreate this challenge but don't want to use the saw cleaver the whole time, if you look for this glyph, Kill the Pig, which is actually tankier than all of the bosses in the base game, you'll find the Chikage sitting in the bonus area before the boss sitting in a chest guarded by your mother. Time for the DLC now. And Ludwig is our first victim, opponent. And this was just like stealing candy from a baby. An ugly ass looking baby, but still a baby. Second phase was even easier and I finished the fight with a cool visceral. After placing the thing inside the thing, I reached what appears to be Kensington Street in Philly, and the next boss are the Living Failures, which paradoxically is the hardest boss of the run. I'm not joking, it was still first try, but my brothers here got me sweating more than your average 13-year-old Twitch streamer sniffing Adderall. Anyways, the failures went down, and we can move on. Ugh, disgusting. You're alive? Nah, I'm kidding, Maria. Even alive, you are still a hottie. This was another one of those fights that lasted less than a minute. Sort of like my best performances in bed. I got cocky at the end and almost paid the price for it, but regained my health, dodged her nuke, and slapped her grandpa style. Next up, I had to slap an actual newborn. Now, I am no doctor, but that's the standard procedure when dealing with a newborn baby. Turns out he slapped me. Though, on my second try, well, my second try looked a bit like this. Now we could continue our journey through the nightmare, starting with Mikolash, the star of my wet dreams. Wait, what? Come here, you little bitch. It took him a while to retaliate to me slapping him directly in the face, but when he actually started fighting back, it was already time for second phase. I took advantage of all the useless throwables I found during my ventures in the Chalices, before shoving my balls on his head to assert dominance. Murgo's wet nurse was a wet nurse. I ran around the area for 30 minutes during her nightmare phase before finishing her off. Yeah, that's the fight. I visited Logarius just for the sake of it, and I discovered that I absolutely suck at dodging his flying twirling attack. But fuck you, Santa, you never brought me the pony that I asked you. And finally, it was now time to kill the final boss. And I feel kinda bad. I mean, I'm going to actually miss grinding the same 4 type of bosses in order to level and upgrade and become the force to be reckoned that I became. Nah, I'm lying. Get me the fuck out of here. Okay, Grandpa, I don't want you to behead me, so I'll refuse your I hope you enjoyed it or found it somewhat funny. If you did, please consider subscribing and liking the video. Comment down below what's your favorite farming spot in Bloodborne. And now I'll go back to my cave working on more videos for you guys to watch. Alright guys, this is all I've got for today. Until next time.
So you know